Hello and welcome as today's date comes in that of Tuesday, the 24th day of November 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and of the like. Well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. For myself, risk reward management is always job number one. Bitcoin against the US dollar in at $19,100. Well overextended, but we still haven't had any monstrous breakout moves within such. This trend continues to play in tat. Been just a nice pattern of higher highs and higher lows. These sell-offs have not lasted long. Buyers obviously in full command of this market right now. 4-hour term time frame, we had a nice little breakout here on the 3-hour stamp today. Very nice, getting above this level of resistance, the range level between 8,555 and that of 19,000, a little bit above it now. And it's just been a phenomenal move. You can see it broke out about 3 o'clock in the morning, lifting off. And now short term, you got retracement from here to here, where we came from. Looking at basically, I would say 18,000 in the slot, so 18,777 as a possible area of short-term support. And just fantastic moves overall this monthly term time frame. This thing is having a nice excitation amongst the 18 average of highs, and I remember saying just how strong this was, and I guess it's just doing what I'd expect it to do. Now what I'm expecting is weak resistance at this level, maybe a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of time movement, but I wouldn't be surprised if this thing does continue to take off. Of course, the price action is going to do what it's going to do. I'm just saying that because to me, this is just the early starts of excitation and such. And whenever I see a situation where you have a key low, key high, you have a really minimal retracement, which isn't much in here when you consider how little it did retrace, not quite, but very close to 38%. And then to establish this resistance in here partway through in this much time, that's the reason why I don't think, I think there's a much better chance that this thing can continue on as we move into the next several weeks. And next thing you know, we're talking about 26,000, 28, 32, 34, and so on. I mean, that's what I'm expecting. Of course, what happens is what's going to happen. Now let's move on next to that of Ripple against the United States dollar, which is right now priced at 70 cents. We have this Fibonacci line. It was just consolidating for the most longest of times from September 3rd through that of, I got to go November 12th. But yeah, in September, October, November, like 3 months. Just yada chopping, really resisting it, but whatever. It was even available at 24 cents. And then when these things go, they can just take off. So we have a 7% up day. And then we follow that up with a 5% up day. But these up days recently in here have just gotten big. Like 3.6, meh, whatever. And then 8.5 is now a meh, whatever. And then after that, we had 40% up day. Down day of 3 2/3. Yesterday, it's up 38%. So far today, up 13 and change as of 4:20 p.m. Eastern time. And it's interesting here, just within the session on November the 22nd, how we just lifted through. We come back down and find support within that level. We can see that on the hourly that it did on a couple of occasions. It did so at the 8 p.m. Eastern time on November 21st, as well as 6 in the morning on November the 22nd. And just a phenomenal move coming up, establishing this resistance last night at midnight at about almost 80 cents. And now we've had 7, 8, 9 or so, 10 periods or so correcting well within the 18, barely rising still. But I do like how it's now making an attempt to regain within this market. And because of the lame-ass move, or just not much of a correction, if this thing can make its way back up to 79 cents, I'd be expecting there to be weak resistance again at this level. Furthest we come back down to maybe around here, chop around for a little bit. But buyers, again, with a lot of these coins are in full control right now. And there's a lot showing me that we might be in the early stages of this dartboard rally, where pretty much just everything goes up. Dash is another example. This is one of the old school coins which has managed to get above the resistance that it had in August. As it got above the $100 mark, now at 114, was as low as about 62 earlier. Another attempt to get this thing going. It's been in pretty much this sideways range. Major support around $63 ever since it came down to it at the end of 2018. And for resistance, we got this high, lower high, lower high. We've gotten by the first one. But as far as all these attempts, an attempt to get it going here at the start of 2019, a couple higher highs, but nothing much to say about that. It gave it all back. And then a really phenomenally fast move. And that, yeah, these things go up faster than they go down. Case in point, the start of 2020. And then, well, of course, this went down fast. I don't know what was faster, though. But yeah, a lot of correctionary time within it, though, all the way from pretty much the entire year. Another attempt to break it out on the start of August, but it didn't quite do so, at least not yet, because there's been just a lot of this correcting in there. It's showing a lot of weakness at the 18 lows, but that's now been nullified, adjusted the message of the market, as it's now managed to get above that point. And as far as the monthly term is concerned, it's still in this long correctionary phase, as it has held and stayed within the 18 average. This level of support, albeit it went down a bit before that, the original supported level of about 60 or so, we can see has been that of support. It's got a long ways to go yet, but these things can have fantastic moves. When you take in point the fact that at the end or the start of 2016, or start of 2016, this thing was like a low of $2. It goes from 2 to 1600 after that, but an 800x move, and then 1600 down to 30. Even 40, we'll say. That's a 40x move. So if you're looking for, potential for monstrous X moves that could come in on any potential breakout, I'm just saying. Take a quick look now at Venuscoin against Binance, and I found out what these people are, or what the coin is. They're actually in the adult entertainment business, one form or another. I really don't care what they do to a degree, as far as I care about the mathematics of these numbers. Buy low and sell high. All these days in a row this went up, and this has been a good day for me, as I'm wanting to get buybacks, so I'm getting a lot of my buybacks in place. And we'll see how this goes trading moving forward. But this coin's been holding in there sideways since it came out. And I'll just take advantage of whatever happens, and if I see spots where I can take advantage of volatility, and I think within the crypto industry there's so much of it there, then that's what I'm going to do. Now let's move on to Theta up against Bitcoin, priced in at 3,582 Satoshi, and well, in this case it has managed to find some support, barely piercing below the 3426 handle, and this Fibonacci represents that of a 38.2% Fibonacci correction from this high to the lows down in here, the breakout lows. And within it, we can see even in a day like today that it had a little bit of a rally. It's already given it back as it's been trying to correct through that. Just maybe there might be still more downside room action, and we could be coming down, and I wouldn't mind it happening as far as a trader myself, to the 2150 handle level. Now, when you see a move like this, let's take a look at this. Let's look at this from multiple time frames. Let's now next go to shorter term. And amongst a single hour, we can see your failed breakout move. Very, very typical, getting above the resistance level between the 3686 to 3800 mark, and then not correcting within this. But even a spot here, if you would have taken, like, say, the 2-hour time frame or 3-hour time frame, it didn't correct there either, because you really want to hold well above the previous low of 35.39, which it didn't do. So pretty much around like 3600 change was must hold. So must hold didn't do it. So when must hold doesn't do it, we've now seen it looks like we're resisting this level here at the previous stamp, the 15-hour stamp, or 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I wouldn't be surprised after this breakout that we get a failed move that would probably, I know at least down to 33, but I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit more lower to come. And today's been a good buyback day for me because, again, coins like Dash and stuff like that having nice breakouts. I'm getting a little bit of the Theta back that I've been trying to get, because I trade Theta practically against everything in which that I am holding. So then, back before I show the daily, so I'm just going to go back to it again, finding the support. If we go to the weekly and the monthly chart, because this is where it gets very interesting to me. This was the start of the rally where, well, rallied all the way up to this point on Binance, corrects in here, November 30, comes back up here, and then pulls back up here. This was a time where we had it pull back to the 18 average successfully, which it didn't do before. And then to lift off and have a retest of previous area. What? Yeah, good, bad news, bad news. One, it only microscopically beat that high. But it never ever had much price action this entire run above like 4,000. So that's what it was able to do from like August the 24th to like November the 2nd. So for like a good week and a half, it held and stayed above 4,000 like the whole time. It isn't there now, no. And we've also seen a dip below the 18 average, which is like, oh, that's not good. Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with it having a 61.8% correction. And the must-hold area to me is not via the weekly chart. It's the monthly chart. And I know there's only so much here to look at, but for what I do see, and you can just imagine it could be 1,000 periods before, because it's only we got a spot where we broke out attempt in here, come back into the 18. Breakout attempt in here, come back, spend 2 periods at the highs, and then another move. Now this makes the 18 average start to have a very great rate of ascent. That's a starting turning point to getting this thing going. We've come back down to the 18 average of highs. So it's at the first general area. 18 average of lows, and it's going to change next month as it's rising. It's in that of 2,143, which coincides within, of course, this one in here. And that would be because of all the time that it's spent trading at like this 1,100, 1,200. If it could just hold and stay above that 2,000 number for a significant, that's a very good high or low, considering that it was very close to going to like 700 Satoshi when it was basically at 1,000. So that would be the Theta chart. Let's move on to the next one. And that chart would be that of Tezos. And the final one I'll be doing. And it's also against Bitcoin. A little bit of support here at the 1234 or 12,000 handle, but we'll call it the 1,200 handle as it is. But this thing has had just a large amount of volatility. But what's been good about this is over the last several weeks is I've been able to get a good rebuy, a lot of rebuys back with the Tezos, because a lot of stuff you could sell up here just gets bought and back on the way down. And you just figure if someone were to buy back at the price October, back when this was breaking out at this 13,000 handle, they'd be at the exact same price point against Bitcoin they were before. But if they were buying and selling back and forth that I've talked about before, that I have in the more information box, when you get this type of volatility move, that can just work out so fantastic. I'm very confident Tesla's moving forward. We'll see what will happen. But thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.